One wrapper, two textures, crispy and lacy on the bottom, soft and chewy on top, all in a single bite. That contrast is the homemade skin doing the work. Let me show you how, starting with the flour. Measure 100 grams of unbleached cake flour and 100 grams of bread flour into a large heat-proof bowl. The cake flour keeps the wrapper tender, the bread flour gives it the stretch to roll thin without tearing. The alternative idea is using 100% all-purpose flour instead of cake bread mixture. Add 30 grams of mochi. This one is optional, but it is the small secret that pushes the chew toward that sticky mochi quality you do not get from a store wrapper. If you don't have it, just make it up with 15 grams each of cake and bread mixture. Rub in 1 teaspoon of lard with your fingertips before any water goes in. Do this now while the flour is dry. The fat coats each flour particle the same way batter coats flour in a pie crust, so the dough later stretches thinner without tearing. Stir the flours together with chopsticks so everything is even. Now the water. Pour 115 grams of freshly boiled water, that is 90 to 100 degrees Celsius, into a jug and stir in half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of sugar until they dissolve. Drizzle the hot water into the flour in a steady stream, stirring hard with chopstick the whole time. Chopsticks, not your hands, for 2 reasons. The mixture is dangerously hot, and chopsticks spread the water evenly so you do not get dry lumps that never hydrate. Keep stirring until the flour pours into shaggy, crumbly clumps. It looks rough and uneven, and that is exactly right. Let it cool until you can handle it. Here's the part that surprises people. You would think boiling water makes a tough, hard dough. It does the opposite. At 90 degrees Celsius and above, the starch in the flour swells and gelatinizes in seconds, and that is what gives this wrapper its soft, peelable, mochi body. At the same time, the heat relaxes the gluten before it can turn springy and stubborn. Hot water is the master variable here. It is the single choice that decides whether your wrapper turns out chewy on top and crispy on the bottom. Tip the dough onto a clean surface and bring it together with your hands. Press it away from you with the heel of your palm. Fold it back, turn it 90 degrees and go again. Knead like this for 5 to 10 minutes. You're looking for a surface that is smooth and slightly glossy. Press it with a finger. If the dent springs back slowly, it is done. In Japan, the benchmark is the softness of an earlobe. By hand, oven kneading is almost impossible, so don't be shy here. Rub a thin film of oil over the dough, cover it and let it rest at room temperature. 15 to 20 minutes in summer, 30 to 45 minutes in a cold winter kitchen. Use this time, get your gyoza filling ready while the dough sleeps so nothing waits around. I'm using my classic pork gyoza filling today, so put 150 grams of finely chopped cabbage in a bowl, sprinkle with half a teaspoon of salt, rub it in and leave it for 10 minutes. Then squeeze every drop of water out. This keeps the filling from going watery. In a large bowl, mix 200 grams of ground pork with half a tablespoon of soy sauce, half a tablespoon of oyster sauce, half a teaspoon of sugar and a pinch of black pepper. Work it until it is smooth. Add the squeezed cabbage, 30 grams of garlic chives, 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 50 grams of finely diced Japanese leek, and 1 tablespoon of lard. Mix with your hands until even, then add 1 tablespoon of warm water and mix it through for a juicier filling. This is ready to go, so cover and keep it in the fridge until it's time to assemble. Okay, the rest is up, so knead the dough for just 30 seconds to wake it up. Now dust your surface generously with potato starch and dust the dough too. Use starch, never wheat flour for this. Wheat flour soaks into the dough and turns the wrapper heavy. Starch just sits on the surface and stops things sticking. Flatten the dough by hand, roll it with a pin to about 1 cm thick and cut it into strips that fit your pasta machine. Feed each strip through on the widest setting, then step the thickness down one notch at a time until you reach 1mm. On my Atlas machine, that is setting 5 to 6. You might assume thinner is better since store-bought wrappers are thinner, but homemade dough has more elasticity than factory sheets, and below 1mm it deforms and tears in your hands. 1mm is the sweet spot, but treat it as a target, not a rule for everyone. If you are still building confidence folding gyoza, or the dough feels sticky to handle, roll it a notch earlier so it's slightly thicker on purpose. The thinner you go, the harder it is to pleat and seal without tearing. A thicker skin speaks up more in the finished bite, which is delicious in its own right and far better than a wrapper that splits as you fold. The one line I hold firm on, even once you're confident, never roll below 1mm. If you want to do this without a pass machine, check out my recipe post for how. Lay the sheet on the dusty surface and cut your circles with an 8 to 9cm cutter. I use 8.5cm. A slightly bigger circle is easier to fill and fold, which matters more with handmade dough than with store-bought. Now the moment from my own kitchen I want you to get right. Once the circles are cut, dust them again properly. If you skimp on the dusting here, especially on a humid summer day when the flour has already pulled moisture from the air, the wrappers stick to each other. If that happens, it is not the end of the world, but you have to gather everything back into cohesive dough, roll it thin all over again, and cut every circle a second time. So the moment a surface even looks like it might tack, hit it with more starch. Freaking dusting is everything here. I learned the hard way. Good dusting now saves the whole batch. Gather the scraps, press them together and round them through once more. Cut until the dough runs out. With an 8.5cm cutter like mine, you will get about 32 wrappers from this batch, which is exactly what my gyoza recipe is built around, so the two line up perfectly. That is the wrapper done, and it is the hard part behind you. Now let it earn its place in a real gyoza. One honest thing to keep in mind before you fold, the stretchy soft texture that makes a homemade wrapper special is also what makes it a little harder to handle than a store-bought one. That softness is the flow and the charm in the same breath. Expect folding to take a touch more care, and do not let it throw you if it feels different from the stiff factory skins you are used to. Grab a wrapper and put about a tablespoon of filling in the center, leaving a finger width border. Wet the edge with water and fold it in half without sealing yet. Pinch one corner, then make small pleats along the edge and press each one down to close it. Tap the base flat against the counter so it will crisp evenly. Homemade wrappers are more fragile than store-bought, so do not let the filled gyoza sit around. Cook them right away or freeze them filled and uncooked for later. One of the advantages of homemade wrappers is because they're stretchy, you can close the ends properly. That means the juice stays in the wrapper, and this leads to the juiciest gyoza. Heat a frying pan over medium heat with a little oil. Lay the gyoza in a single layer, bottoms flat on the pan, and cook for about a minute until the bottoms are crispy and brown. I'm using cast iron today. I've used all sorts of pans to cook gyoza, and in my opinion, cast iron is the best. Add about 100ml of boiling water and cover the pan straight away. Boiling water, not cold on purpose. Cold water would drop the pan temperature and leave the wrapper soggy. Cover and steam for 4 to 5 minutes, giving the pan a small shake every so often. Take the lid off, turn the heat to high, and add 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil. Cook 30 seconds more. The crispy bottom and that mochi chew are the wrapper doing the work, and the juicy filling just rides along. Plate the gyoza onto a serving dish, crispy side up, and a dipping sauce of rice vinegar, soy sauce and chili oil alongside. And this is the wrapper finally paying you back. That is what one batch of hot water dough looks like after 40 minutes. Make it your next weekend project and level up your gyoza to something special. Google gyoza wrappers Sudachi for the full printable recipe with exact measurements and timing. Want even more delicious recipes? Grab my free cookbook from the link in the description. Tap the recipe card on your screen for the full printable version with exact measurements, every timing, and notes for getting each step right. Next time I'm making homemade chashu. See you then.